Hey everybody, my name is Odo Horn. I'm the president of the North Georgia Conference United Methodist Men for about 3 more weeks. And then I will turn the reins over to Ernest Perry. For those of you who did not know, the North Georgia Conference United Methodist Men had an executive business meeting in April at St. Philip AME Church here in Atlanta. And we elected a new board. And I'll put that link of who the new board members are. But congratulations to Ernest Perry of Bethel AME Church in Atlanta. He has been elected the new North Georgia Conference United Methodist Men's president. Some of you may not know Ernest unless you're in scouting ministry. That's where he's been hanging out most of his time in the United Methodist Men. He has been involved in the Central North District of the former Atlanta College Park District of the United Methodist Men, but he spent most of his time, at least on the district and conference level, with the scouting ministry. So, congratulations to Ernest. Let me say this about scouting. We are anticipating a decision from the judge on the more than $2 billion settlement with Boy Scouts of America. And so, as soon as we hear about that decision, we'll pass that information on to you. If you had any questions related to the Boy Scouts of America lawsuit, please do not hesitate to contact Chris Carabinos, our scouting ministry coordinator for the North Georgia Conference. All right, couple things. For those who did not know, I'm in a doctoral program. I started in 2019. I'm actually in the dissertation writing phase, and so I decided to step down and not pursue a second term as president of the North Georgia Conference because I really want to graduate in May of 2023. So I'll be writing a dissertation. I will still be involved as the director of communications for the North Georgia Conference United Methodist Men. And this is United Men's Ministry. You probably have heard about that. I'll put some more information in the links below in the description of this video. This is the app-based ministry with Adventure Men, as well as the Live Bold app that we are going to be targeting millennials and Gen Z because they're mainly doing their Bible studies on the phone. Now, I know you don't like doing that. I know. But during this area of COVID quarantine, sometimes this is how we have had to reach out to people over the phone. And so the Live Bold app as well as Adventureman app are available to us, and you can contact the General Commission on United Methodist Men for more information. Now, let's talk about annual conference. First, it was good to see everybody. More than 1,800 delegates showed up at annual conference, and it was good, really. Now, the big news that coming out of annual conference, you probably heard by now, 70 churches were approved for disaffiliation from the North Georgia Conference, and it was a smooth vote. I would say close to 90% of the delegates voted in favor for the 70 churches to disaffiliate from the United Methodist Church. The process, um, some people complained it wasn't explained to them. Contact the North Georgia Conference trustees if your church is thinking about disaffiliating. I've heard horror stories in other conferences through in their disaffiliation process. North Georgia was handled professionally, at least at annual conference. Now, I don't know leading up to annual conference, I don't know, but at annual conference, this was handled professionally. The most of the churches were smaller churches, and the word on the street is a lot of these churches were slated to be closed, and so they decided to strike out on their own as opposed to being closed. And so these churches all will become independent. None of them will join the Global Methodist Church because my sources in the Wesleyan Covenant Association say the Global Methodist Church is not set up to receive churches until they have a convening conference, and there will be no convening conference of the Global Methodist Church this year, according to my sources. So all of these churches will be independent. So let me give you an example of what I mean. Sardis United Methodist Church in Buckhead has declared that it is leaving the United Methodist Church. It was approved at annual conference, and they will go independent. Chuck Savage II is the pastor at Sardis United Methodist Church, and he's on the Wesleyan Covenant Association board for at least North Georgia. He might actually be on their national board. I visited Sardis United Methodist Church, and I'm going to be as honest as I possibly can. It is not a WCA church. So I was very surprised to see Sardis on the closure list. Chuck Savage said in an interview with, I believe it was WSB TV here in Atlanta, that the church decided that they did not want to go through this process of are arguing over same-sex marriage and who can be included and who's it's, they didn't even want to get involved in that. So they decided to take the exit ramp off early. And so they will be an independent church. Now, at the convening conference, I can guarantee you Chuck Savage is going to go with the Global Methodist Church. And so Sardis United Methodist Church, which will have to change its name, will have to find a new pastor. So a lot of these churches will be independent. Some of them will join the Global Methodist Church in the future, but not right now. They're independent. Okay, so I want to make sure that we understand that. The big churches that sort of left was Sam Jones Memorial in Cartersville. They have over 500 people in attendance. They were one of the largest churches to disaffiliate, as well as Quest Church in Grovetown, Georgia, which is just west of Augusta. They average attendance of 900. Other than that, a lot of these were smaller churches. Since the annual conference, Mount Bethel settled with the North Georgia Conference for $13.1 million, and I got to be as honest as I possibly can. That's an inflated price, truth be told. On the record, I told Jody Ray that Bishop Sue Harper Johnson made an excellent choice for him to be the director of racial reconciliation. However, he declined that position. And for what it's worth, Stephen Ushery would have been an excellent pastor for Mount Bethel. But I got to be as honest as I possibly can. $13.1 million is a lot of money to disaffiliate. But we wish Mount Bethel and Jody Ray the best. And I want to say this to all of the churches, including Mount Bethel, Sam Jones, Quest Church, and the other, Sardis, UMC, and the others that have left. The North Georgia Conference United Methodist Men, as well as the Scouting Ministry, made a decision back in 2019 after the special session of the General Conferences that whether the Global Methodist Church and the Liberation Methodist Connection, which at that time there was some chatter, but looks like that's not going to form at all, the United Methodist Men will be serving all three of those denominations or any other denominations that are formed out of the split of the United Methodist Church. So we have some new products, and that includes the Live Bold app as well as the Adventure Men app. These are specifically designed for not only United Methodist Men, but for our Wesleyan brothers who are outside of the United Methodist Church. So the Adventure Men app as well as the Live Bold app, this can be used by the churches such as Mount Bethel and Sardis and Sam Jones and Quest UMC. But the United Methodist Men of the North Georgia Conference will still be, until otherwise stated, we will still be offering our services in ministry to all of the churches that have disaffiliated. All right, let's talk about annual conference. What else happened? Byron Thomas, who's the head of the North Georgia Conference delegation, was reaffirmed as the head of the North Georgia Conference delegation. All right. Then there was a presentation about the Barnes Fund and the grants that have been given as a result of the Barnes Fund. I think they have $32 million in their endowment. They've set it up as an endowment. So they have $32 million in the endowment. And so they'll be awarding 5%, which is $1.6 million every year for ministry grants. They're not going to award these for church renovation as grants. These will just be ministry grants. So I'm encouraging the Bridging the Gap Men's Fellowship at Mount Bethel, Mount Pisgah, I apologize, Alpharetta First and St. James to apply for a Barnes Fund grant to continue the work of Bridging the Gap and spread this throughout the North Georgia Conference. Now, for those of you not familiar with Bridging the Gap, this started with Alpharetta First and St. James in Alpharetta. One is a white church, one is a black church. They decided in the summer of 2020, with all the protests that were going on and the subsequent debate over critical race theory, they decided not to get involved in either one of those. They decided to come together for prayer and for Bible study. So while you heard people on cable news reporting about protests and they want rights and they want equality, and people critiquing the people who want rights and equality and critiquing critical race theory, black men and white men in Alpharetta got together for Bible study and prayer. And we want that to spread throughout the North Georgia Conference United Methodist Men. So I'm encouraging Bridging the Gap Men's Fellowship to apply for a Barnes Fund grant. And if you have a grant ministry idea that you need a grant funding, I'm encouraging you to apply for the $1.6 million that's available through the North Georgia Conference to do your ministry. Now, you got to make the case. It can't just be aspirational. You got to have some. This is a competitive grant, so you got to make the case that this is not just a pipe dream. It's actually got to have some legs and or some teeth to it. All right, just being honest. Not everybody was approved for the monies that was set aside for the Barnes Fund. So contact us at the North Georgia Conference United Methodist Men if you have any questions, and we can help you through that process. Now, again, it's ministry grants. It is not church renovation grants. With that said, we have a need at a church in Commerce, Georgia, Warren Chapel, UMC in Commerce, Georgia. They need to raise some funds to have a roof repaired. And so I'm going to send that request out so that if you feel led by the Spirit to contribute to their fundraising efforts to have their roof repaired, that they use this as the fellowship hall. They use it for their food pantry. And so they've got a quote for $16,000, but it's a smaller church. And so they need some financial assistance to help raise that $16,000. So if you want to give to it, I'll make sure that you get connected with, I believe it's Warren Chapel, UMC in Commerce, Georgia. Now, let me get you some of the details that happened at annual conference. Oh, the Boy Scout lawsuit. Again, if you have any questions concerning about the Boy Scouts of America lawsuit, contact Chris Carabinos, who's our scouting ministry coordinator, and he will answer any questions that you might have. There's a new chartering agreement that will be announced next week by the General Commission in United Methodist, the Scouting Ministry of the General Commission on United Methodist Men. I'll put that link there, so if you want to be in on that call, that would be informational for you as to how the Scouts will be going forward with Boy Scouts. The Methodist Scouting will be going forward with Boy Scouts of America. Here are the statistics for the North Georgia Annual Conference as of the close of 2021. Membership stands at 339,259. Average weekly attendance was 59,636. Because of COVID and the quarantine, some of the churches were closed for part of 2021. So the average in-person weekly attendance was 59,636. The average online worship attendance was 93,004. Praise God. For those of you who do not have online worship online services, just think about your sick and shut in. All right. This is something that you might want to be offering to your church long after the quarantine and COVID is over, so that your sick and shut in can at least watch online so that they can get it in real time. All right, not have to wait for you to upload it to YouTube. They can be there when it happens from their home. There were also 1,262 professions of or affirmations of faith. Again, 1,262 professions or affirmations of faith. Only 7 churches closed because, again, most of the churches that disaffiliated from the North Georgia Conference were on the closure list. So only 7 churches. Now, if you're thinking your church is thinking about disaffiliating from the United Methodist Church, the window of opportunity is from January 1st, 2023 to February 28th, 2023. If you have any questions, contact your district office or the conference trustees, the North Georgia Conference, so that you can get all your ducks in a row. All right. You must follow every step in the process, and 70 churches have already gone through this process. So make sure you get the information from your district or from the trustees of the North Georgia Conference if your church is thinking about disaffiliating. But also do know that the North Georgia Conference United Methodist Men will still offer you men's ministry services, even if you choose to disaffiliate. Now, with that said, going back to annual conference, the men's ministry report, as well as the scouting ministry report to the North Georgia Annual Conference, is on the United Methodist Men's website. And I'll actually put those links in the description for you to read. And I actually might do a video so that you can hear what we have done over the last year for both men's ministry as well as scouting ministry. And I also might bring Ernest Perry in and interview him so that you get to meet Ernest, at least virtually, so you know what he's about. We put his bio on our website as well. Again, our website is ngcumm.org. That's N as in North, G as in Georgia, C as in Conference, U as in United, M as in Methodist, M as in Men.org. And that's where you can get all of the latest information. We will have an executive committee meeting on Tuesday, June the 14th at 7 p.m. And again, you can get more information. United Methodist Men, you are invited to, this will be an online meeting, so you are invited to sign up and join us at the executive committee meeting. All right, my name is Odell Horn. Again, I'm the president of the North Georgia Conference for 3 more weeks, and it's good to see you all. And I hope to see you next week. All right, peace and God bless.